Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the D-Line, soon to everyone's favorite football podcast, courtesy of The Clutch, which is your IOL sports show. My name is Malibongwe, and with me to speak football today, as usual, we've got legendary Herman Gibbs and Mihlali Balega, our top IOL football scribe. These are happy times, or actually interesting times for South African football. Um, Top of the table, of course, we've got Bafana, and we've got the World Cup draw happening next Friday on the 5th in Washington, D.C. No concerns there about Hugo Bruce being granted his visa. At least he's not returning from South Africa. We don't know about the rest of his contingent, though, but we are seeing all these political situations unraveling, and you get to worry. But anyways, that's not for us. Gentlemen, we before there's a World Cup, then we saw the preliminary AFCON squad released by Hugo Bruce. I mean, everyone who's a Bafana fan or South African football fan knows at least 80% of Hugo Bruce's squad. But of course, there are those players whom we can say they have an outside chance. I mean, for example, the likes of Molo Isane, and we saw in the last days that Mfukeng this year has been low on form. I mean, there's the likes of Elias Mokwana and the rest. Maybe let's talk about those players. And gentlemen, we also said him as one of them making the preliminary squad, but obviously he hasn't played for some time. But just to touch on that one, gentlemen, those players that we can say they actually have an outside chance. I think the likes of Geza also get in there. Can we look at those players? And then as we look towards the final squad for Morocco.
Yes, well, while you were talking about that visa there, it just come to mind that South African Football Association has a very good working relationship with the US Federation. And recently, when they qualified for the World Cup, they sent Danny Jordan a letter saying, "Hey, well done. We're looking forward to seeing you here." So there's no chance of our visas being cancelled. I'm sure they'll make Hugo Bruce and Danny Jordan very happy because they're both attending the draw next week in Washington, D.C. But coming back to the composition of the AFCON squad, look, it's been said a million times. Hugo Bruce is going with the tried and tested, the people who's worked for him, people who's played regularly for him. Those are the ones. There's very little chance of the outsiders making it. But I hear what you say. Some of these players like Tembi Lodge, there's been a lot of pressure, but of late there's also been made the point that Tembi Lodge has been seen in a bad light. Some domestics a few months ago, and some of the people on the internet are saying, "Hey, just stay clear of that man, because at the moment our team is squeaky clean. We don't want any sideshows, so we can do without the distraction." But there's Fakhri Lakai who's also been doing well in Egypt. Remember that the Egypt standard in the domestic league is higher than the PSL. So that's worth considering. And I think, though, that those players may just come in if there are changes at the squad, because you are allowed to bring in replacements if, for example, you suffer an injury, or there are acts, commonly known as acts of God, that prevents a player from playing. But those will be approved by the AFCON committee before they can join the squad official. But other than that, my personal feeling is that there's going to be a heartbreak for one player, and I think that's going to be Patrick Masengani. I think somehow he's not going to make the squad unless Mr. Baleka feels otherwise.
Yeah, no, I think Mr. Gibbs, you make a very interesting point there with the Maswangani, and I mean that position is is quite interesting now, because I mean when you look at the number 10, Mr. Valega, obviously the front run now is the Master Chef, the Sigumule.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I think in the past two camps, including the camp where we had to qualify for the World Cup, it was quite evident that Tito is no longer part of the plans of Coach Hugo, at least for now, especially with Sipho Mbule doing so very well. And obviously now with Themba Zwane also maybe, I think in the preliminary squad, chances of him coming back to the team, because I don't think they're actually, looking good at the moment. So I think Coach Hugo will go for Themba and then with also Sipho Mbule. But yeah, I think Tito picked up when it was a bit too late for him, because there was time that, he needed to do more for the team instead of for himself. In a couple of few games, I think he's had some decent outings here and they're playing for the team instead of personal glory. But I think now the ship has sailed, and then probably he has to look to the World Cup instead of any other tournament. Especially like I've already mentioned, that Themba Zwane is in condition to actually be part of that final squad.
Yeah. But then
I have to disagree strongly with Mr. Baleka there on Themba Zwane. I think he was just included in the prelim squad as a goodwill gesture. He hasn't played, so there's no ways he will make the team.
He hasn't played, and I was going to go there as well, Mr. Gibbs. First, though, the CAF has requested not only 23 players, I believe is it 25 or 28, and then you've got a youngster Mfukeng who can play that position, and then you've got Sipho there. Look, the respect that Zwane commands from the boys, but I mean, what he will give you when he hasn't played, Mihlali, when he hasn't played for months.
But just I think let's not jump the gun here, because now there's still about, I think, 2 games to play before they go to actually to the recess for the festive season. So if Zwane gets a few minutes, in those 2 games, and then maybe shows his readiness to be fully fit, because that's more anything. Because I don't think Bruce now doubts his qualities. Because another thing to say that you want to see a player, but if he gets a minutes to show that he's fully fit and actually can actually bring something to the team, bigger or how small it is, especially now with a bigger pool, I think it's one of those players that you might say that, okay, let's probably maybe take a gamble of him, or like on him, because we've got a number of spots that we can actually use to explore. Because obviously there was still going to be the core of that squad, which is 23 players. But now if we get 5 more slots, do we leave Themba out? I think he will one of those that will get a saving grace by actually being more number of slots.
Yeah, it goes many ways. Like I'm saying now, they're requiring 28 players to be registered, even though I think the matchday squad will be 23, but they're requiring 28. And especially with him, the respect that he commands from the group and the inspiration that he will bring to them, even if obviously he doesn't play the majority of the game there. With him on the squad, it's a different picture altogether. So I don't know, Mr. Gibbs. I do agree he hasn't played, but looking at the number of the squad players to registered and the leadership group that he can actually, the influence that he has, the respect that he has among all the players, the Bafana players, could that really open his space up for in Hugo Bruce's AFCON squad? You're muted there, Mr. Gibbs.
Sorry, definitely not. I can't see that happening. I think Hugo Bruce has sort of hinted that he feels sorry for him. He won't make it, but he's not going to take players that are not fit. That's not in his makeup. He's never been like that. And
so, Mr. Gibbs, then what's going to happen? What's the bet if he makes the final squad? I mean, are you organizing as a trip to Cape Town?
Put a weight on it.
Yeah, no, look, gentlemen, that's not a subject worth debating. As Mr. Baleka says, we mustn't jump the gun. That's precisely what we do. That's what made us the D-line. We jump the gun. No. We tread where angels fear to tread.
No, it's fine, gentlemen. Well, it's not only Themba Zwane that is a discussion, because I was also looking at the defenders. I mean, you've got Tshaomolo Isane there, you've got Siyabonga Ngezana there, and then there's the likes of Ndamase there, and Ndamana is a future prospect, obviously. And then between Molosane and Ngezana, you would feel that. They've made their points to be included there. Any chance we can see Ngezana making the final squad or Molosane? I feel that between the two of them, one may have to to stay behind. But then, of course, not only them, like Mr. Gibbs was talking about Fragler K doing well again in Egypt. It's going to be interesting times. It's going to be interesting times. We've got the likes of Mdu Shabalala as well. Mtajela recently joined the setup as well.
On my side, I don't think Masindi will make the cut, to be honest, because I think when Bruce actually called him in the last camp, he did mention that it was to see him closer and obviously how will he fit into the setup. But with him having not played against Zambia, I don't think he will make the final squad. And then maybe going to Mdu Shabalala as well. That's another interesting question, because in as much as he's a speedy player, and then also maybe can offer more in terms of attack, but also has actually done enough, ahead of other players who are in the setup, because you look at the likes of Austin Apolis who've been doing so very well for both club and country.
And then there's also are going to murder you.
And then there's also
players are going to murder you if you're saying that we'll have an AFCON squad without a single. Because if you rule out Mdu, then there will be no Chiefs player in the squad.
Yeah, maybe another thing is that I don't know. Maybe Bruce will decide to take 4 goalkeepers and maybe lean towards Peterson. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on this one.
But yeah, I doubt Peterson will lead football. Ricardo Gosa, man.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. That is without, But also, I think on the topic of actually Ngezana, I think Ngezana will make the squad. He was even going to make the 23-man squad for that matter, from where I'm sitting, because Bruce specifically didn't call him up because I think he knew that, he's got enough depth here at home, and then he didn't want all the traveling logistics, because even in his press conferences, he did say that there are still players that are still going to come back, and then was mentioning Rele when he was out injured, was mentioning Ngezana, that, saying that, his quality, because he's just not calling them because that he thinks that has pushed them to the side. He just wants to see more players. And to remember, Tabumba Lesane has been in the national team setup mostly as a backup or getting a late call-up, maybe to replace someone who's been injured or suspended. So he hasn't actually got, the initial note just from the word go. He's always been there as a backup, Whereas Ngezana, I think whenever that has been in the national team setup, he's been able to start, most of those games.
Yeah. Well, I think there's 2 areas of this squad that's fairly settled. One is the goalkeeping department, the 3 goalkeepers, and the other one is the midfielders.
The midfielders.
Those 2 groups, I think, are fairly settled. I think the headaches will be in the defense and the forwards.
Yeah.
And I hear what Mihlali says about Nganzani not being the last squad, and Hugo Bruce said he wants to have a look at the others, but reports coming out of Romania are not so good. His club is not very happy with him. They think he's not applying himself, and he hasn't been playing of late. These are things that Hugo Bruce will be aware of. So I wonder if they're not more to it than meets the eye. But I agree, he should be in the squad. He's one of the top central defenders available to us.
Yeah. No, interesting times ahead indeed, Jens. I think Mr. Gibbs, you're on the money there. The goalkeeper is quite settled, and then the midfielders, those ones we can call out. Even if we're not as qualified as Dade Bruce is. Moving forward, gentlemen. We've got a Carling Cup final this weekend, and then it's going to Polokwane. We've got Pirates. They're playing it for the first time, and obviously now they are looking to a domestic travel with the M10-8, and then this week we saw them reach out to equal Sundowns, 25 points on the log, and then this Carling Cup. Is that the approach that should really be on Pirates' mind? That will be a biggest motivator for Pirates players going to this final, and could it really be the one that carries them through?
Look, this competition has got a history of causing upsets.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it's going to happen this time. I think this Pirates team has got his head screwed on properly. I watched the game against Chipper. They won 1-0, but it could have been 1-1, or even Chipper could even have won. The goalkeeper Shane was in brilliant form. He saved 2 certain goals with reflex action. But I think Pirates will be well prepared, and I think it will be another trophy in the cabinet unless Mr. Baleka feels otherwise.
No, Mr. Gibbs. I think Pirates will also, go all the way and actually get the much needed result. But also, I don't think it will be easy for them because this Marumo Kalan's team has just been going under the radar, under the 29-year-old Alexander Lafitte. But I don't think they will have, the technical abilities, the know-how of how to compete in a cup competition. Even though that you'll remember that a few years ago, Marumo Kalans, they did win the Nedbank Cup, you understand? But now with Paris now having been in such a brilliant form in domestic football, I think winning 8 of their last 9 games with their only blemish, that one draw with Mamelodi Sundowns in the league, I foresee them actually going all the way and getting another, trophy under their belt this season, which will all but be fitting for coach Abde Samwad, who's just like fitted like a glove, this Paris team since he arrived during the winter transfer window, taking over the reins from Jose Rivera.
Yeah. And then talking about Pirates and the Carling Cup, it takes us back to the reported transfer of the TLB. Mbokazi is the reported transfer to the MLS side, Chicago Fire, and he didn't play midweek. Will he be expected to to come through this weekend? Wadu last week played his card saying that he wasn't in the squad because of nutrition. What's going on there? What is the latest, and what have you guys had regarding Mbokazi's transfer, and what are the chances of him playing this weekend for Pirates?
Well, the surprising thing this week was that the coach Odu said, "No, I don't know anything about it."
Exactly.
So,
But don't they all say that, Mr. Gibbs? Don't they all say
that
that?
makes you wonder what's going on there, But anyway, about the move to America, one has got to wonder if that was the correct move because sometimes these players going to America, the leagues don't always bring the best out of you. And when it doesn't bring the best out of you, it affects your form. And then eventually you also concede your place in the Bafana setup. We've seen that with quite a few other players that have gone that way to America. So one would have hoped he rather went to a club in Europe where where they can bring the best out of him. But I still think he's a valuable player. And I can't see Pirates not using him just because of the spending transfer. When it comes to cup, you put in your best team. There's no other consideration. You are focused on winning the cup. That's it.
Yes. Mr. Gibbs, you touch on the league having failed so many South African players, not bringing the best out of them. But of course, maybe one can say Mbokazi is a different breed. What actually is the case? Is it a matter of that America is not so much of a footballing country, and
Football nation, yeah.
yeah, they're not so much well equipped with looking after young players and developing individual players' games, and because you look at it, they have so many players who has been at their prime, who are in their twilight years of retirement, even though they've got a lot of stars, but most of them are in their twilight. Could it be
Yeah,
the
I
case
think also maybe we might look at it that way, thinking that maybe it's some sort of a retirement village of some sort. But I think with Mbokazi as well, you need to understand that maybe such a setup will do him a world of good. He'll be away from the limelight for a couple of seasons. He'll be able to work on himself, as a person, as a youngster, and as a footballer, which is very important. And then by the time that maybe he's fully fledged and then is able to say that he's acclimatized to a different environment, especially abroad, and then also maybe there could be, potential offers that can become and run for his services. And maybe on the flip side of it, this move could actually do him a world of good, given the fact that by the time that Bafana gets to the World Cup next year, he would have been maybe a well-climatized, footballer who's based, in the US. So we can look at it in all those avenues, saying that in as much as yes, we might not think that the MLS is the best league for him, best suited for him, but on the other side, there are things that will allow him to develop fully, will allow him to actually, express himself the way he knows how before he can actually move to a bigger and a better league. But obviously, with the World Cup going to the States next year, this could be actually some time as well to adapt quickly to the climate changes of the country. And then when he has to represent Bafana, that's when he actually attracts a lot of scouts for his signature.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that. That's something I have to ponder about, and you can bet the scouts will be, because of the World Cup, maybe they will have their eyes set in America for some time or for the next year or so. Gentlemen, let me not all do for long, because everyone is looking at the situations in anticipation. I know there's a CAF Champions League this weekend, but we'll talk some more about that. It's the group stages. We saw how Kaizer Chiefs started and how Sundowns started, and also we've got Stellenbosch there. But let's leave it there for now. There's more of CAF that we are going to talk about in the upcoming stages. Let me hear your side, maybe your closing remarks, James, before we close this episode.
Well, we expect the Sundowns to win against their former coach. Rulani has said, look, there's no such thing as a revenge in his book. He's just going to play the game, but he's got nothing to do with taking revenge against his old club. In the meantime, Sundowns are showing excellent form. Their two Portuguese players seem to be on the way up, and they're certainly providing the sheet anchor for the team to perform well. Stellenbosch, they're a bit of an enigma. They won in the league, but it's only the third time in 11 matches. But when they play in Africa, they seem to do better. And one wonders what the standard is like in Africa in the Confederation Cup.
It's a question of standard.
Second last in the domestic league in South Africa can find their way into the group stages. Having said that, it was a tremendous match, scoring 2 goals in the last 3 minutes. One of them coming in the injury time. So one has got to wonder what booty the Stellenbosch team is using, because in the previous match they also scored an injury time winner when they played this team from Congo in Polokwane. So Kaizer Chiefs, anything can happen. They're blowing hot and cold, but the whole country will be hoping that Kaizer Chiefs will win, because when Chiefs win, the whole country is happy.
Including yourself, Mr. Gibbs, are you happy?
we always hear that, and one can tell you there is a propaganda used against us too.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think Mr. Gibbs has nailed everything. We just have to see and obviously hope that our teams that are flying our flag on the continent continue to do us proud, because a win for any of the PSL-based side is actually us being on the map. So let's see what this fixtures has in store for us. And obviously, it will be obvious looking at the game against Paris, against Durban City. I think it will be important for them to actually set the tone going into the final of the Carling knockout on December 6th in Polokwane.
Yes. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. And I've already seen some quite a few Facebook posts, people saying now they are fans of Durban City. So goes and tell you now what is behind that.
Or some already fans of Zamalek.
Some are already fans of Zamalek, some are fans of Durban City. So yeah.
Some are fans of Rulani.
So it's just that mix up there. But then we see Mr. Gibbs, we realize that his happiness index is naturally oriented.
The key factor.
Over and out, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, brothers. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.